We're going to go ahead and start with our post-race media availability for the 9th running of the Active Pest Control 200 in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we're joined by today's runner-up, Matt Crafton, driver of the number 88 Ideal Door Menards Toyota for Thor Sport Racing, and our third place finisher, champion Johnny Sauter, driver of the number 21 Allegiant Travel Chevrolet for GMS Racing. And we'll throw this question out for both of you. Fantastic show out there. How dicey was it on that final restart, and as everybody was racing for the win? We'll start with you, Matt.
Oh, it was great. I mean, this place is so much fun. I mean, just a slipping and sliding and just being able to just barely crack the throttle on restart and quarter throttle, just literally rolling the throttle like you have an egg under your foot, and it's so much fun. I think we need to start a driver council. If anybody from Atlanta Motor Speedway wants to come in here and wants to talk about repaving this place, then we need to get all the drivers together and talk to us about it, because that was some of the greatest racing I've seen in a long time. I mean, I was going backwards. I had the four ways on at one time, and I was on the bottom, and I was on the top trying to figure it out, and everyone was all over that racetrack, and that's what it's all about.
Johnny, from your perspective.
Yeah, just a very eventful day. So I don't know if I feel the same about the racetrack as Matt does. This is my first time in the media center after the race. So just a super night for our Allegiant Travel Chevy. You know, this has been a tough racetrack for me, and maybe not so much that I don't like racing here. I just seem to always sometimes have trouble. And again, tonight we had a miss, and I thought, here we go again, another problem. But nonetheless, yeah, great race. That last restart, I think me and Matt probably showed our experience on that last restart. Both timed it perfectly, in my opinion, because I didn't think the outside lane was the preferred groove, especially on old tires on restarts. And I saw Matt wiggling a little bit, and I was like, I'm not going to push him. I'll just let him do his deal. And I think we both agreed if we got decent restarts that momentum would prevail, obviously, off the exit of turn 2, and that's exactly what happened. So tricky place. This place is treacherous. It is fun to race at, though. I will give it that. That's the most fun I've had here in a long time.
It was certainly fun to watch. We appreciate the show you guys
Johnny
put on.
didn't want to help me 2 weeks in a row. After I landed on him last week, he helped me, so he didn't want to push me on that last restart.
Good deal. We're going to open the floor up to questions. We'll start with Rick, and we'll go over here to Jacob.
Rick Miller with the Atlanta Journal. I hate to jump ahead, but would y'all both comment on, like, you got winter break and spring break coming up here after a couple of weeks at the track. Y'all's thoughts on the way the schedule plays out, what you're going to do in those basically couple of months off?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I've been racing trucks long enough that you kind of get used to that break. So, you know, it's a bummer when you're riding pretty good momentum. We had a great truck last week and a good finish tonight. So you just obviously you want to keep going to the racetrack, but that's not the way the schedule is laid out. So, but I honestly can't think of a better place to go than Martinsville for me personally, a place that I love going to. It's so much fun. So the break is good, and give me a little time to work on my new super late model and you know, spend time with my wife and kids.
I hate the break. They need to fill the gaps, please. Mr. Negative tonight, huh?
We'll go to Jacob, then we'll go to Chris.
Jacob Zillman, Performance Motorsports Network. I've got two. First, for you, Matt. I heard you say in the TV interview that you heard Chris spinning the tires on that last restart. The outside lane worked for you on that very last two-lap dash, the best it had worked for anybody in either race all day. What did you need? Was there anything you could have done differently on that last one to get a better run?
No, not really. I mean, I think that was just about as good as I could have did. I mean, I felt it was pretty perfect, but not perfect enough. Maybe if I'd had some help by Johnny pushing me. But honestly, we talked about that earlier. If he would have probably touched me, it might have hurt my run because I was spinning the tires a little bit. But I could hear Christopher down there. He was young, and he got excited, and he spun the tires once, and then he really started spinning them. So it almost worked out.
And then for both of you, last race on this surface, Matt, you were raving about how good the racing was today. You know, from both your perspectives, what are you going to miss when they repave this place?
The old racetrack.
Go next to Chris, and then over to Kenny, and then to Stanley.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Johnny, I heard you on the radio during the race say that you couldn't get the truck to go, or wouldn't go. What did you guys do to make it go there at the end?
Not really sure. It was loading up real bad, and I couldn't keep the motor running. Obviously, when I'd lift off the gas, and you know, under caution there, the motor would diesel, and kind of jake brake itself and want to shut off. So, but the fuel pressure gauge was pegged, so we knew it wasn't electrical, obviously. And the fine folks at Hendrick told us that, hey, you need to shut the motor off and let it coast for a while, which, they thought there was maybe a piece of debris in the regulator, is what they said on the radio. And sure enough, I did that, exactly what they said, and it went right back to 9 pounds of fuel pressure, and didn't have a lick of trouble ever since then. So, pretty scary moment there for a minute. I thought maybe we were in trouble, but, all's well that ends well.
Go next to Kenny, and then back to Stan.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. For both you guys, we know how important experience is on a track like this. How does a guy like Christopher Bell come out winning the race then?
Well, obviously he had a good hand on truck, so I kind of felt like yesterday, to be completely honest with you, the trucks that I looked at on the lap tracker last night, I felt like we were great, or really good. I thought Matt was probably the best, and I thought the Ford truck was, they were tit for tat. So they just he had a fast truck and did what he needed to do. I mean, anytime anybody wins a race, I know when I win a race, I felt like I had the best truck or my truck was fast. So they just had a little bit more grip.
Stan Creekmore with Outside the Box. In talking with Ed Clark, he says the repavement is going to be a lot like Kentucky Speedway and kind of similar to what they do at Texas Motor Speedway, and that they're going to have 11 months to work on the surface to try to give you something as close as you had today. Does that make you feel any better?
No. I mean, I'd like to know what's wrong with the racetrack right now, to be honest. Water? Yeah, it looked like we had a lot of water tonight.
Jeez. Hey, I know that paving racetracks is just part of the deal. So we question why, Matt loves Atlanta and I love Texas, and I sit there and I question, well, hey, why are they repaving Texas? But I think if we had any rain this weekend, we probably would have saw the reason why they're repaving it, like we did Texas last fall, where we sat there for a day and didn't do anything. So, it's just part of the deal. But it is fun. It is fun when you can slip and slide around here and run all over the racetrack. And, I'm sure over time this racetrack will obviously go back to, a lot of these racetracks pick up the old characteristics of what they were before, and I'm sure this place will be no different.
Any additional questions for these gentlemen? Guys, great race out there. Thanks for joining us.